Yeah. Oh no. You most certainly can.
Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up, level up. Come on, sing the part. Ooh, the song is so yummy. Ooh, the song is so yummy.
Is that what she says?
Yep.
Oh, I just be busy trying not to dance at that moment. We can keep that.
Something yummy in my tummy.
Oh, the song is so yummy.
The song is so yummy.
Yummy only in my tummy.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird song, but it's...
When you got hits, you could just say random shit.
Right. And
Plenty of artists have proved
her
that.
ass off.
And then there's that.
I mean, I would just watch her dance.
Same.
Anyway.
I can't even finish that sentence.
Probably not a good idea to finish that sentence.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sierra, automatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky, fresh, work my body so hypnotic, something.
something. You lucky we don't name our odd episodes like normal folks do, because this would be something.
Yep. 2 Sierra songs.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast featuring
Dashing D.
And I am JD, a.k.a. He Who Pods.
A.k.a. Dash.
Yes, that's you.
That's me, not you.
I'm not Dash.
I forgot to say my A.k.a.
It's all good. So, first, a confession.
These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I can't say, my chick on the side says she got one on the way. These are my confessions. Damn, I'm wrong. And I don't know what to do. I think I gotta give part 2 of my confessions. Hit it, JD.
Yeah. All right. So.
I promise the only thing in my cup is water. And ice.
Is it? Anyway.
What's in my cup?
You'll never know.
In my cup.
So, first, last episode, we did not record because I had a family emergency of sorts, and so I was unable to record. And then, we're going to talk more about this later, but we bumped into each other at Roots Picnic, and was like, all right, we told Chris that we won't record on time, but maybe we could still record on time. And so we tried to do it without Chris.
It didn't work.
It did not work out.
It didn't work.
We had tech issues.
A whole 2.5 hours down the drain.
And we had to throw away a 2.5 hour podcast that would never see the light of day. And so here we are re-recording for y'all. And hopefully this will drop Saturday morning or some point Saturday. I know we're late, but we prefer to be late than miss a second episode.
Right.
And so that being said, let's get to it.
So the first thing we have to talk about is sad news. Tina Turner passed away.
Oh yeah, we weren't even around for that. Yes, this is true.
The queen of rock and roll.
Yes.
Sad.
Yep.
She's a legend.
Absolutely.
She's an inspiration
I'm about to say, yep.
Many.
Definitely a trendsetter in the industry.
Yeah, and she a lot of her story gets overshadowed by some of the abuse that happened with Ike Turner, but she had such a interesting life and career even before then. So, it's sad. She did live a long life, and I said this when we recorded the first time that I can appreciate, obviously we don't ever want to see anyone pass away, but we know that death is inevitable, and what we would hope for is that people live as long as they possibly can, So she was 86 when she passed away, and she was able to live a long life. Well, after the stuff that happened to her years ago. So
yes, decades ago.
Yeah, so that's great. And like I said, she's an inspiration to so many people. We have Beyonce right now on tour, on the European leg of her Renaissance tour.
Yep.
And I think it's important to mention her because Beyonce has always said that Tina Turner is if not the biggest, she is one of her biggest inspirations. So, and you can see it. You can look at any clip that's been posted in recent days, and you can see the similarities there. So I remember her bringing Tina Turner out for one of her performances at an awards show. I can't remember what awards show it was. I've been trying to remember. But yeah, and they performed together. So
that's fly. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. But yeah, she lived a long life, and she definitely made an impact on all of us. So, rest in peace to Tina Turner.
Definitely. And we appreciate you and all of your contributions, Tina.
Yes. So, because Beyonce was mentioned, I know I mentioned her, but because Beyonce was mentioned, I feel like we just have to just pull over for a second before we get to the rest. And we have to talk about the new performer in town. We have to talk about
the biggest little star.
Yes, the new kid on the block. Which she's not really a new kid on the block because she's been doing things.
She was crying on records as an infant.
I mean, she has album credits.
Yeah.
So but we need to talk about the fact that, or we need to just acknowledge the fact that Miss Blue Ivy Carter has been performing in Europe with her mom, and I just assumed, I was like, oh. She's probably, one show and then that's it. No, since she's been out every night.
Every night.
Performing with her mom.
That's it.
I thought it was really funny. Someone posted a video of Beyonce missing. There was like a cue. There's a part where they give each other a pound and Beyonce missed it. And Blue looked at her like, Mom. Mom.
She's like,
Girl, we got work to do.
Come get this.
And I think this
don't leave me hanging in Europe.
I think this is amazing because people have said for years that Blue Ivy is Beyonce's creative director. So full circle moment for all of us, really. And I'm sure that Jay-Z, there's video of both Jay-Z dancing to their performance and Beyonce actually kind of taking a moment and looking at Blue Ivy in awe of her, which I think is really sweet. So we know that they're proud of their daughter, but she is 11.
She's 11.
She's 11, and she's out there dancing with some of the best dancers, right? Crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's smart. They have done many things. Excuse me. They've done a lot of things to create revenue for Blue Ivy directly since she was born, and I think that's great that we're able to see that as well as a part of hip hop lineage, a part of business. It's something that they do, and I think it's a great thing we should all be taking note of.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like that's the true definition of generational wealth. Like she is not only inheriting, but she is creating her own, and that's a beautiful thing.
I agree.
Just wanted to pull over real quick and acknowledge that because Jay-Z is your fave. That's practically your niece. It's practically a little cousin, something.
I'm gonna let that slide because we're tight on time today.
And
we'll revisit that another time.
And Beyonce's the biggest star in the world, so I think we have to, given what we do here, I think it was important to just acknowledge that is happening. But yeah, so let's talk about Jamie Foxx.
Oh man! All right. So months ago, Jamie Foxx was hospitalized and no one knew why. In fact, most of us didn't know it happened until lots and lots of different blogs started putting out lots and lots of lies. They said everything and anything happened to Jamie Foxx. You think of the worst things, they said it happened. And we came up here and spoke about it and wished him well. We also came up here and spoke about how his daughter put out a statement at one point and said, hey, listen, yes, it's true. My dad is in the hospital. That's all we're going to say right now. Please allow us this privacy in these moments. And that's the last time we reported, which was about a month ago. We said, well, whatever's happening, we wish Jamie Foxx well. Well, now it's been a month. And what's happened since then is really wild. What's happened since then is the daughter has come back out because after she asked for privacy, they've given everything except privacy. They've done the complete opposite. More and more and more, even as far as earlier this week when we looked it up, they were still saying crazy shit was happening to Jamie Foxx.
They were saying like he was blind and deaf.
Right. And so a couple weeks ago...
Because of the COVID vaccine, by the way. And I don't know who started pushing that narrative, but never mind.
Weirdness. Yeah. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, a report came out saying that, quote, someone close to Jamie Foxx says that his friends and family are preparing for the worst. And then Jamie Foxx's daughter put out a statement and said, it's really nasty. I'm paraphrasing, y'all. This is not a direct quote. But she basically said it's really nasty that y'all are up here trying to just exploit my dad and his name and destroy everything that he has going on and use him for so much clout when he's been home for weeks. He's not dying. He's fine. And so they have not given a fuck, but that's the update. Jamie Foxx is fine. Jamie Foxx is home. Oh, and this is a little weird, but this is also true. In that statement, she also said, not only is my dad fine and he's been home for weeks and y'all are some lying ass liars. Again, I'm paraphrasing. She said, but we also have an announcement coming up soon. And a couple of days later, it came out that Jamie Foxx and his daughter will be hosting a new game show.
That was weird to me.
And that was super weird.
It was like, why... You're parlaying this into a rollout?
It's super weird, that part. Listen, that part was super, super weird. And then, the blogs have not given a fuck. They are still saying crazy shit about Jamie Foxx. And now, what's happened since the announcement of my dad is fine and we have a game show coming, the internet has been coming for Jamie Foxx's daughter. And saying that a lot of not nice things. But they feel that she has been irresponsible and that we are owed an explanation and we are owed information about Jamie Foxx. I'm just glad Jamie Foxx is okay.
Agree.
I think all of these blogs are wildin'. And another podcast made a good point to say, at this point, there's got to be some defamation lawsuit that they can file because...
Yeah, but who they going to file it against? Everybody?
I don't know, but... I mean, you know, normally in legal situations, you go for quote-unquote deep pockets. So you wouldn't go for JD's blog that has 5 viewers. You would go for, I don't even want to say names, but the big dogs.
Right. Defamation is also a very difficult thing to prove.
I think now they have plenty of evidence, but yeah, I agree. It normally is hard to prove.
But you know, to your point, if it's the smaller blogs that are kind of carrying this, and the thing is about the larger ones is that, yeah, some of them will toe the line, but they also know what they're within legal right to do. And so I don't know how far that would go. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I just wonder how far that would even go. Right. I think it's wild that people just make up stories. I never understood that. Like even who was it? Not Nicki Minaj. It was Cardi B who had that issue with Tasha K, where she. Oh yeah, but she won her defamation lawsuit. She won, and now homegirl fled the country because she can't pay millions. But the thing that's crazy about that is the stories were unfounded. They were just out of nowhere, and it's like, I understand that everybody's trying to get a lick, but at what cost? You know, I don't know. I've been conflicted with this because I don't think they owe the public anything. Me either. But I think the moment you talk to the public, it gets a little, the area gets gray for me. Because if you're going to talk to the public and tell them anything at all, it's going to spark a reaction. And I think that's what happened. And I'm not saying the reaction should have been making up stories, but even like people like you and me who are like, well, what is going on? And is this real? Or right. Like and then to come back a few weeks later and tie your wrist. Okay, so the thing that was really weird for me was that immediately after this happened, immediately after the statement was made, the original statement was made, and even before that, people were saying things. It took weeks for her to come back and say that...
Respect our privacy.
well, she said respect our privacy, but it took weeks for her to come back and say that he was fine.
Yes.
Which I think, okay, forget about the bloggers for a second. What about everybody else that you just told that he was unwell and we don't know why and we don't know what's happening? We don't know if he's laying in an ICU bed or if he is at home nursing a broken ankle. We have no idea. And that's fine. I don't want to know people's personal business, just so we're clear. But I think what you do there is I don't want to use the word manipulate because I feel like manipulate is a very strong word, but I feel like you kind of play with the public's emotions a little bit, waiting 3 to 4 weeks to be like, actually, he's fine. I understand that you didn't want us in your business in the first place, but the moment you decided to join the conversation, you kind of let us in a little bit, and you don't owe us what happened to him. You don't owe us any of that. But if you're going to come out and say something and you know that he's been fine for weeks, then why not just say he was fine from the jump?
But he wasn't fine at first.
I know, but I mean at the point where you knew he was fine because she's again came out and said, oh, he's been home for weeks. At that point, it's like, okay, if he's been home for weeks, what are we all like we're over here like stressed about? Because now I'm going to talk about the fact that like people who know him and seem to be friends with him, at least from what I understand, I'm speaking specifically to about Garcelle Beauvais, who was his co-star on the Jamie Foxx show. Fancy. I even saw she posted, I follow her on one of the social media platforms, even she posted praying for Jamie Foxx, blah, blah, blah. They're friends. So I was a little confused. I was like, oh my gosh. At that point, you're like, oh my gosh, is he going to be okay? Like, is he going to live? I think we even said on here, we were like, we hope he makes it because it seemed dire. So I think it gets a little complicated. I don't blame them. Like, I don't blame them for wanting their privacy. I think you deserve your privacy. I think when it comes to health and medical issues, you don't owe that to anybody.
Right.
It just got a little weird for me, and do with that what you will, but it doesn't have to amount to anything at this point. It was just a little weird, the whole way things went down. But I'm like you said, same thing for me. I'm glad that Jamie Foxx is okay, whatever that means. And hopefully we see him soon. I mean, she said there's a show coming, so
yeah.
I'm not a game show girl, but
me either. I don't care about that.
But good for them.
I'm happy they're getting their money, but I don't care about that. But I do think that it's really weird that all of these blogs and all of these sites are willing to say the nastiest of things about someone so beloved as Jamie Foxx. Right. Because that's the other thing. Like, anybody. Jamie doesn't bother everybody. He just makes his movies, makes his money, and smiles a lot on camera. Yeah. I mean, Tom Cruise ain't mad. Why y'all mad? Right. That's the only person that might could be mad, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't totally understand it.
And Tom Cruise don't care. He busy riding motorcycles off cliffs and shit. You seen that?
I did not see that.
In the trailer of Mission Impossible, the new one that's coming out, there's a scene in the trailer where he rides a bike off of a cliff, jumps off the bike, and then has to pull his parachute. As a promo, they released footage of him doing it 6 times in one day.
You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app.
They're like, why is she in our business?
I don't know. Google could hardly mind her business.
Exactly.
There's in the trailer, there's they did behind the scenes footage, and there's a video where maybe we could post it since we spoke about it now. But there's a video where they show how dangerous this stunt is. Like if he pulls his parachute at the wrong time, blah blah blah. They show him he did it 6 times in one day because that's how much he wanted to like make sure it was perfect. Wow. Yeah, no stunt double. Him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he ain't worried about Jamie. So the blog shouldn't either. Jamie, we're glad you're better. And we're sorry if we reported wrong. We didn't have any real legitimate information. We were going off of all the shit that we saw, which was an overwhelming amount of things.
Yeah.
And so we're glad that everything was wrong. We're glad you're better. And we look forward to seeing you in action soon.
Yep.
Next topic. What else?
Succession.
Succession. Oh, my lamb.
What in the world? Who am I sitting next to?
Oh, shit.
Succession.
Where to start?
The last 3 episodes are the ones we didn't report on.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, where to start? There's so much to talk about.
I don't know. I feel like when we did this the first time, it was perfect. I don't even know where to begin.
Well,
we have a successor. We can start there.
we have a successor, Tom Wamsgans.
Wamsgans.
Oh, Gans. I always say his name wrong. But yeah, man, Tom takes number 1. Let's start there. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Whoops. Tom is number 1, man. Tom is number 1. And none of the siblings are the successor.
No, they just walked away with a pretty hefty bag.
I mean, they got paid billions,
And Shiv is wife of CEO and mother of CEO's baby.
Yeah, which is interesting. The whole shit went down crazy. There was like such a roller coaster these last 3 episodes. Just Greg. Greg was such a pivotal part of these 3 episodes.
He was. He was. I wanted to see more of what Greg was dealing with, because Greg really did have a big role, even though it may not seem so to some. If you're paying attention at the way that the chess pieces are moving, it doesn't all happen without Greg.
No, I would argue that a lot of it would not happen without Greg, because Greg spilled the beans. I'm agreeing. I'm saying, yeah, without Greg, probably none of this shit would have happened, because Greg spilled the beans on Shiv during the election night. Greg gives Tom information later on. Greg is feeding Kendall information in multiple episodes, and part of that is him using Google Translator to see the fly shit that they're saying, the Swiss people are saying about Shiv being out. And then he goes right to Ken and is like, yo, man, I need to get paid big because this shit is about to go down.
Right.
And so Greg was a very important piece of this puzzle of these last 3 episodes. Without it, arguably the Democratic candidate would have been announced as president. Without it, arguably, Shiv would have went in and got blindsided completely. And without it, arguably, we wouldn't have had the pact that fell apart for the millionth time between the 3 siblings.
Right.
Because it happened because of Greg. Because before that, Rome fucked up at the funeral and retreated to Mom's house. And Shiv and Ken were both trying to pull him towards their cause.
Which, can we talk about the funeral for a second?
Sure.
The funeral was really interesting to me because I think that the writers did a really good job at showing us exactly who they are.
The writers or the siblings? You said they are. Who's the they?
The siblings.
Oh, because I think they showed us who a lot of people are at the funeral.
Yes.
That's why I'm asking.
But specifically our principals, right? Like, we have Rome, who inevitably fell apart.
Which is funny because the episode starts with him in the mirror.
Right. He was
doing his affirmations.
He was preparing and everything.
He's doing his affirmations in the mirror. He's like, I'm going to kill this shit.
And
I'm the fucking man.
And up to now, Roman has been very unaffected when it comes to the business side of things. He has been channeling his dad and saying, listen, fire them.
Right.
Get rid of them. Announce it. Like, he was very much...
Especially once we saw that... it started actually a couple episodes back when he went on the firing spree. But
right.
I was going to say, really, you see him mimic dad almost completely.
Yeah.
Like, kind of become dad during the election night stuff.
Yeah.
Where he's like fucking dad did whatever he want. So we're going to do whatever we want.
Which is the same
What
night
they gonna do?
fires Jerry, right? Isn't that the same night?
No, that was the episode before.
But
Or maybe even 2 episodes before.
okay.
Because he fired Jerry at the day they announced the healthcare stuff.
Okay.
And he bailed on Ken, and then Ken bodied it.
Yeah. And so we see that happen. We see them go console him, and we watch Kendall go up there and kill it.
And kill it.
Which we know Kendall knows how to do.
Kendall shines, man. Listen, people talk a lot of shit about Kendall. He may be a numbskull sometimes, but we have seen a lot this season Kendall rise and shine in moments pivotal moments when people thought like, all right, this shit is over. He steps up and knocks that shit out the park.
He's very charismatic.
And he did that very well when he was on some like, okay, just give me a minute. I got to fix these cards. And actually, I don't really need these cards.
Right. And he did an amazing job. And then you see Shiv, who, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because she's the woman in the situation, right?
Yeah.
And so
they make that known every chance they get.
Yes. And
like, oh, this is some woman shit. Oh, see what the woman does.
Right. And I understand that this is a world of misogyny and toxic masculinity and all of those things exist because this is a company that is older than dirt. I understand, and that was exactly who Logan was. They've made reference to Logan being a bigot. They've made reference to Logan, he's had all these affairs. He's disrespectful towards women or people he just simply does not like. So we know all of those things. So I understand that we're working within that framework. But at the same time, it's like cringy as a woman. I'm like, ugh, I hate this. I hate that she couldn't. It was so petty for her to go up there and make that speech. And I understand that it was her father's funeral, but that shit had nothing to do with the fact that she loves her dad. No, that was oh my gosh, Kendall was amazing, and I want to be CEO, and I'm trying to like secure things with Mattson, so I need to go up there, and I know that Roman is out now. Roman just solidified that, and Kendall really stepped up. So now I need to try to do it, and it came off the way I think she intended. It was weak sauce. It was weak, and
it would have been way better if she did nothing.
Right, and I think for her perspective is, well, no, I don't always want to look like the woman who just supports the guys and says that what they do is okay and all of that. But she ended up making herself look weak. Yeah. Like she knew the house of cards was falling down and she was trying to pick up the pieces. And that wasn't the moment to do it while everyone's eyes were on all of them.
Not for that. Not if you're going to do that.
No, it wasn't.
She would have had to go up there and outdo Kendall.
Right.
And then it would have been a whole different next couple episodes.
Right. And she wasn't even supposed to speak. So it's like...
Only Rome was.
Girl, just...
Uncle was funny.
Yes.
But... Yes.
What were you going to say?
My favorite funeral moment.
I think this... I know what
you're is all the ladies.
The ladies!
Yo, Mom Dukes went and got Carrie and was like, come on, Carrie. You come sit with me. By the way, this is my friend Dash.
This is my Carrie.
And everybody's like, who the fuck is Dash? You don't know this bitch. Who's this? Yeah. She's like, oh, what's Marsha? Marsha. She said, Marsha, this is my Carrie. And Marsha's like, oh, fuck. Then all she could do is console Carrie.
Marsha was consoling Carrie. Marsha was like, well, we're in the same boat.
All the ladies up front crying.
Listen.
And everybody is looking like, nigga, what is...
Right.
What's going on?
What happened?
Why are those ladies all together?
I forget, though, where this actually happened in real life.
Where someone had
I saw a side-by-side.
Nice.
And this has happened in real life, but I can't remember who it was at the moment. I have to look it up. But really interesting and really funny.
That's my favorite funeral moment. But after the funeral, shit gets shaken.
Yeah.
Because now everybody's trying to... Scramble to get their ducks in a row. Is the president-elect going to go with us? Is he going to go with Mattson? Will he do this? Will he do that? And what ends up happening is they sway him into an American CEO and rolling with Mattson, supporting the deal, pushing the deal through, or allowing the deal to go through. And they agree that, yeah, if there's an American CEO, all right, cool. And now that's when shit starts getting crazy. And in the midst of everything getting crazy, at Mom's house in the Bahamas or wherever the fuck that beautiful place was, shit gets crazy back at home.
Right.
And Mattson has a really weird, gross
conversation with
Tom.
Now, I want to point out right here that after episode 2, I sat in this very seat.
Yep. Pop your collar, you know what I'm saying? Dust your shoulders off, all that. And what you said, right here on this pod, what you said?
And I said, Tom will be the CEO.
That's what you said.
I said, Tom will be the successor.
That's what you said.
You
said, and I quote, I don't know, but I got this feeling that it's going to be Tom. And I was like, really? You think so? I guess we'll see.
Now, what I want to admit, because I can't say that without pointing out, the trajectory of the road rather to CEO for Tom is not what I thought it would be. Because remember, I came back after episode 3 and said, maybe I was wrong.
Right.
Because I thought that Tom needed Logan in order to make it happen. So I was half right.
Well,
because that he could, once Logan was gone, my theory about how Tom would become CEO completely got blown out of the water, and I can admit that. But yes, I thought from the beginning of the season that Tom would be the successor. I did.
I didn't. It wasn't until they had that meeting at the house right before reading the little fake will they found. And I came up here, and that's when it was like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know movies and TV. And I said it here when Tom was trying to convince everyone to keep him around.
You noticed the camera work.
I noticed the camera work because he was, begging Ken and trying to get on Ken's good side. And Ken sunned him. He's like, listen, man, I like you. And you're my sister's dude. So, you cool with me. But Tom, stop. And he went up the stairs. But the camera didn't follow Ken up the stairs. There was this long stare on Tom where for a second it's like, is my HBO frozen? What's going on here? Because it was a long stare and the camera, it never left. Like it was like right here and it stood right there. And it was just Tom standing there. I'm like, why the fuck why do they just have the camera on Tom for like 1 whole minute for no ass reason?
Yeah.
To me, that was foreshadowing. And that's when I came up here and was like, now that moment made me feel like Tom was going to be the one. But again, ain't nothing here tell us Tom was going to be the one.
Right.
Until the last moment. And
even towards the end, it was like, Tom didn't want to be the CEO.
Because he never even thought it was within his reach.
Right.
And neither did any of us. All of the viewers, we swore. I would have put rent money up that it was going to be one of the 3 kids.
I agree with you.
It was like unfathomable that it would not be one of the kids. Like anytime it was like, maybe Jerry, nah.
Yeah,
maybe
and
this
that
person,
immediately got...
nah. Maybe this guy, nah.
I think it was in season 3 or season 2 where there was a strong possibility, there was a strong conversation about Jerry, and it was fleeting. It didn't even last very long. It was just like, and that was when, I think it was season 2, that was when Jerry started trying to groom Roman, because I think everybody realized, that wasn't Logan's thought process. Like, did he think they weren't shit? Sure. But it's easier for you to think your kids aren't shit and make them CEO than it is to have somebody who's not your kid and not a part of your legacy run your company after you're gone. So it was such a weird thing. But listen, Tom being the puppet, Tom being the person who is willing to do anything.
I would say anything, yeah. Whatever.
Anything. And he said that. He said that to Mattson. Mattson was like, well, what do you bring to the table? Sell me.
Right.
And he's like, he basically says, I'm a doormat. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
He said, I listen to the boss, whoever the boss is.
Yeah, and Mattson kind of stared at him a little bit, like, because I think in that moment, Mattson also realized the same thing we already knew, that Tom is just a squirrel trying to get a nut. Tom wasn't looking for CEO.
Nah, this whole time, his whole thing was, I have to stay around.
Yeah, and
I have to be able to stay around.
And then Mattson, and then he looks at Mattson, and I think maybe that was the moment where Tom realized it was a strong possibility, and he goes, "Let me tell you why," because he then starts. I don't know if you remember this, but he says first his skills that he thinks are useful. He looks at Mattson, and Mattson kind of hangs back a little bit, like, okay. And then that's when he says, well, I'm organized and I'm this and I'm that. And I think at that point he was like, oh, maybe something else is happening here. I don't know if he knew for sure that it was CEO, but I think that at that moment he realized that he needed to work a little bit harder than
that I agree with, yeah.
Than just, I'm a gopher, or I'll do whatever you want to do as long as you pay me a hell of a lot of money. Because that's really all Tom has ever said, is that money is important to him. Yes. And as long as money he was making... Power. Yeah, and I think even without all of the power, he would have been fine with a big check.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really interesting. And then I'm like, this is not really happening. I'm watching it and I'm like, this is not going to happen this way. Sure enough.
My man said, I'll be honest, I want to fuck your wife.
He did, yeah.
And I think under the right circumstances, it would happen.
Yeah.
Mad disrespectful.
Tom didn't seem to mind.
Tom was like, all right, nigga, whatever.
I mean, Tom knows that other men fuck his wife, so some of whom he knows.
And on that note, that's our Succession recap.
That is our Succession recap. So we're going to shift it back to music, actually.
Okay.
Well, I think we just jump into Roots. Right? Okay. Let's jump into Roots.
You the showrunner, girl. What you got? What you want to do, showrunner?
So Roots Picnic. We both went to Roots Picnic.
I saw you out there.
I was out there. I was in those streets. I saw you out there being festival baddie, you know, doing what you do.
I was trying to do my thing a little bit, you know. Had my contacts on. I borrowed some shades that went with my shirt. You know,
I saw that. Your little mint green shirt.
You know, I was trying to do my thing.
I saw, okay, festival baddie, I see you.
I was trying to do my thing.
I see you out here. Is this for Ari Lennox?
It was for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Single man out there just basking in it, you know. There was all type of ladies. Like, it was everything and anything. You could tell people who, like, they come to festivals, they had their festival gear on. Mm-hmm. Then there was some people who, hey, I just came to chill and have a good time. Mm-hmm. Then there was other people that was dressed to the nines. They was like, I'm serving up looks. And then there were just people with entire asses out. Did you see people with that? There was a lot of Ari Lennox type outfits.
Yep.
People in sheer clothing. Mm-hmm. People with body parts completely out.
Yes.
So one lady, she just had pasties.
Yep.
I was like, man, I should come with pasties next year.
I mean, you should. Why not?
Not with this body. Maybe if I get my body right before next Roots Picnic, I'll be out there, you know, shirtless. I actually was glad I didn't see none of the brolic, sliced and diced dudes without shirts on. I was like, oh, these dudes about to be out here flexing, no shirts on, making me look bad with my dad bod. No. Everybody had shirts on. I was happy about that. Well, all the fellas had shirts on. All the ladies did not have shirts on. But crazy.
Yeah, I mean it was
Well, you've been to Roots before. Yes. So how was your experience this time as opposed to last time? Not Ari Lennox. We get to that in a minute because we got to talk about Ari Lennox.
Of course.
Because you've been up here before slandering Ari Lennox.
I did not slander Ari
at Roots Picnic.
You see the narrative.
So we got to talk about Ari. But overall, how was your experience before and now in comparison?
So I went in 2019. Some of the same acts were there. Okay. Including Ari Lennox, including City Girls. I did not see City Girls this time. But I did catch a video online. To me, it was a much bigger turnout than it was the last time I went, which I mean could be a multitude of things. I'm sure I'm sure as the years go by, the numbers grow. They made a point to say that when they started, it was a more intimate event, and it started with 2,300 people, and now there's 60,000 attendees.
Yeah. Good job remembering those numbers.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So that's part of it. Also,
and that is a feat within itself. Sorry to cut you off, but
of course.
What has it been? 10 years they've been doing it?
It's been over 10 at this point.
Regardless,
So
to be able to go from 2,300 to 60,000 plus,
to having it at a small, intimate venue, and now having it at this huge park.
Oh, it wasn't always at the park?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. This is my first time going, so.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know where it used to be, but in the beginning when it was a lot smaller, I was reading something that said that when it was a lot smaller, it was at a more intimate venue, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I noticed that there were way more podcasts on the roster, which I thought was really interesting and really cool to see as podcasters ourselves. I'm sure it was cool for you as well. And just seeing how podcasting is growing in so many different spaces too.
So, two things that the people may not know. One, I learned after going to Root Picnic. Apparently before, the podcast stage was small and intimate, and they had like the silent clubbing thing.
Yeah, and it was up on a hill.
Oh, see, I didn't. The people I was listening to didn't say that, but they did say this time that was not the case.
No.
This time there was a dedicated stage, like a huge stage area, and everybody had like sound system and everything, the works to be able to do their thing. And there were some big names there. Yeah,
there was. I'm glad you pointed that out because I actually forgot that. But yes, when I went in 2019, that's how it was. I think that was the year. Headphones? I think that was the first year they had done that. They had done a podcast stage. It was all the way up on a hill, which kind of was a deterrent too because you have to walk up this long staircase to get up to it. And then you got to it and it wasn't going to time. And there were acts that decided not to show up. That was, if anybody knows about the Reed and the Joe Budden podcast, that was the year that the Reed decided not to go. They never really said exactly why, but the Joe Budden podcast did speak about it. So it seems like there was a clash there. Two of the hosts from those podcasts do not get along. Just for backstory. So I missed JBP that day. I didn't get to see it because I ended up leaving. There was also like a gunshot scare and all of that I went. So we didn't end up staying through the night. But yeah, there were only, I want to say there were maybe 4 or 5 podcasts. And I think this time there were about 10 to 12 between the 2 days. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm glad they brought it down to the lower level because then people get better access to it. Yeah. I remember going up that hill and being like, well, I'm gonna stay here and wait a little while for the people I want to see because if I go back down that hill, I'm not coming back up here.
Yeah, I actually bumped into the podcast stage. I had no idea where it was. And at one point between performances, I was like, yo, I need a snack or something. And so I was looking for different, I was just walking around to see what different food was available. There was a lot of food and alcohol. A lot of alcohol. And I was like, oh, what's that? And there was like this area you just, off to the side. I was like, oh, and there were signs. And I have to say, I know it's your turn, but I think they did a really good job organizing the way that the festival was. It was not hard to find anything. There was a lot of variety from vegan specific vendors to the types of alcohol that they had. They had a lot of different things, like different places to do quote unquote experiences from Dunkin'. Shout out to Dunkin'.
We did Dunkin' together and we have footage from Dunkin' that I need to post. Yeah.
And all type of stuff. There was a Google Pixel booth. Monster was there. Uber Eats was there. You name it. And I just think it was really well organized. Even though Saturday, I know the stages had some issues with time. So, like, I had to choose who I was going to see where. because on the smaller stage, I wanted to see
there was
one
a delay.
performer, but that stage was a little behind schedule, and the main stage was way behind schedule Saturday. And so, in my brain, I was like, I'm gonna see this person, and when they finish, I'll go here. It didn't work out that way. Right. But Sunday they were very good. Sunday they were very good with time. Mm-hmm. People were pretty much on time with their performances.
Agreed.
I was impressed. You know, I don't go to festivals like that. The festival I went to a lot years ago was Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival. Mm-hmm. Very different. But this was huge and this was very fun. But I have to applaud them. It was well organized. There was no violence. And the performers said that, especially in the later times. Mm-hmm. They were like, yo, to be able to do this, have no violence, have everybody come together and show love and have a good time. Yeah. That's a feat within itself. And I totally agree. You didn't hear about anything happening. You know, you said there was a scare in 2019. There was nothing like that.
Yeah, no. And I think I would have been...
And even like, I don't know what your experience is, but even like, you know, it was a standing only concert at the main stage. And even people pushing to get through... People weren't mad and like pushing back or being violent. They just like, even I witnessed some shit where a group of women went, it was such a weird lie. I won't even say what the lie is, but they were trying to get closer to the stage. Yeah. And so they said a lie that I guess they thought sound good. Somebody behind me was like, yeah, bitches ain't all going over there, but go ahead, man. We don't even, go ahead, just go. And that didn't work out. This was the funnier part. It didn't work out, so they ended up coming back. And the dude was like, what happened? I thought y'all was going to the spot. Yeah. I don't want to say what they said. They said, I thought he was going to the spot. What happened? All 12 of y'all couldn't get over there? Yo, shit was so funny. But that's not always the case. Right. In standing room only concerts, when people do shit like that, it doesn't always go so well. Yeah. And so I thought that was good too. There was a lot of people. And then the blankets, like it's Roots Picnic. So there's areas where people have like their blankets and they're sitting on the blankets. Nobody gave a fuck about people's blankets. Yeah. They were just stepping on people's blankets and stepping right over your food and all type of stuff. And I was standing. I didn't have a blanket, but I was standing there watching, and I was like, "Ooh, this about to be a fight." And people just was like, "Come on, man."
I had a blanket, but I didn't even need to use it because it just didn't work out that way. Which is, excuse me, which is fine. Because it was just nice to like be there and see certain acts. It didn't really bother me. I mean, when I was done, my feet hurt. But
that's festival stuff.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It was worth it.
Some people must have brolic feet because especially some of the ladies, their footwear, I was like, ooh, that's not festival footwear, sweetheart.
Right, yeah, no, you're right. But overall, I think it was a great experience. It was definitely a lot better than the experience I had before. I think now we have to get into the performances, and I would like to just address Ari Lennox, since I have spoken here about the fact that I did see her at Roots Picnic in 2019, which was now 4 years ago. And I am happy to report that Ari Lennox, her performance was great. I had such a good time watching Ari Lennox perform. I just think she sounded better. She was more together. It's like you could tell that she's been seasoned over the last 4 years, and she's grown as an artist. And I loved it. I don't have anything bad to say.
It was great, and so was
I'm
her.
not taking anything back that I said about 2019. I also want to say that.
Okay.
You gotta allow artists to grow.
That's true. I enjoyed Ari's performance. Mm-hmm. And her outfit.
Oh, you liked her panties? You liked her see-through skirt?
Ari Lennox, for those who don't know, she showed up in a mesh skirt. And then it was like, remember we were up here saying how at Dreamville, you could see a little hint. That's what you told me. I was unaware.
You could see some of her pants. Yeah, usually you could see a little bit of Ari's panties in some way, shape, or form.
And this time, she ain't even try to hide it. She's like, yo, mesh skirt, what's up?
Yeah. That's her style.
Mesh mini skirt. Let me be clear.
It was a
because skirts could go all the way, you know.
Oh, no. It was a mini skirt.
To the ankles.
It was a mini skirt. It covered her panties, but you could still see them through the skirt. It was a cute outfit.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
And
it was great.
And the crowd was digging Ari, even though she was sick, and she said, you know, please forgive me.
Right.
Got to drink a little more water than normal, and
They were a little upset with her though.
about Chicago
Boy. Somebody yelled out, "Can you sing Chicago Boy?"
They do Chicago Boy.
And she was like, "No, guys, I'm sorry." She was like, "I'll do another show where I do it," but
She said when I come back, she said next time I promise, which I thought was weird because I was like, Ari, you can't say I promise next time at Roots Picnic. Like, this is not.
and then she said
She said some weird shit about.
She
the
said
song.
it's giving screaming cat, and I think what she was trying to say, because people look very perplexed.
I was one of them.
I think what she was trying to say was that if she tried to sing it sick, that's how it would sound.
Oh, okay. Because when she said that, I was like, I don't know what that means. But then she performed. Then she performed "Shea Butter Baby" and "Pressure."
It was fine.
I don't think anybody gave a fuck because when she performed. Now, this is what was interesting to me about Ari. I normally see Ari's performances and she closes out with "Shea Butter Baby." Mm-hmm. This time she closed out with "Pressure." Mm-hmm. And the crowd went fucking wild. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, is "Pressure" a bigger record than "Shea Butter Baby"?
At this point, I think so.
That's wild. Because "Shea Butter Baby" was in like the Creed movie and the Creed soundtrack and shit. Yeah. That's gangster.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to hear that. I'm an Ari fan.
Me too.
And, you know, I thought that was fly. Like, as an artist, you know, like, I'm no Ari Lennox or anybody on Roots Picnic, but as an artist, you know what songs you want to save towards the end, right. The songs your fans are really excited for, and to be able to say, like, there's a new song that's over there, like, the one that everyone's used to had to get bumped down because some new shit has taken over, and the Pressure's not even that old. No. That album came out less than a year ago. So I think that's really fly, and I was happy to see that.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for her and where she seems to be going at this point. So that's great. Who else? State Property Reunion.
State Property Reunion.
That was great.
That was pretty fly. I was very excited, but not as excited as this one dude next to me. I don't know. I feel like. You know, back when I was 14, 15, and State Property was like the shit, and Rockefeller was at its height, I knew every word of everything, every mixtape, you name it, I had it. But today, some of those things are a little foggy. There was this guy next to me, he knew every fucking record, word for word. And let me be clear for those who were not at Roots Picnic, they did not come out and immediately do like the commercial hit records. They were doing like mixtape shit and street records that like everybody doesn't know. This guy was just word for word. I was like, God damn, nigga, every word of every song, like
a true fan.
Wow. And I was like, man, he making me look bad in these streets.
A true fan. What surprised me was that I think the only time, I know I'm jumping around, but I think the only time the crowd really went crazy was when I saw Usher perform, and then when Eve performed. I found it really interesting that State Property is from Philly, and people weren't really
it was like a mixed reception for State Property for sure.
Yeah, even Black Thought.
They was kind of hating on Black Thought, which I thought was weird.
Because it's his festival. It's just weird. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I feel like every time I go to see a performance in Philly, it's weird. Like, the crowd is weird. It's like people in Philly just go to shit just because. Like, they don't go to stuff because they're fans. And that's fine. You could go just to, you happy to be here, something to do this weekend, that's fine. But when I'm trying to experience music, that makes it a little difficult for me. Yeah,
I seen stuff like that. It reminded me of how people describe the New York crowd. Because they say New York is one of the hardest places to perform. You could be a huge artist and still won't be well received. And I've seen that. I've gone to Wu-Tang concerts where it's only Wu-Tang on the bill. And Wu-Tang comes out and you're like, all right, the opening act, whatever. You might not know them. And usually it's like Wu-Tang affiliates. So if you're a real Wu-Tang fan, you do know them. Because you're like, oh yeah, Dash, yeah, that's JD's artist or whatever. JD, oh yeah, that's Dash artist. So you're like, oh, okay, I know this person. They featured on some records. They might not get the same amount of love, but like I've been at concerts where Wu-Tang comes out and they always get a big reception when they come out. But when they start performing and shit, it's like, oh, this the shit. And cats are just like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, but you got a 36 chamber shirt on.
Right.
You ain't, no, you ain't feeling this?
Went,
And so that was
they
interesting.
Went down to the Target.
I guess. Like, you was just at the merch booth, my nigga. Like, I'm confused.
Right.
But, yeah, and I thought it was really smart the way they used, we're jumping around, but I thought when they did the live mixtape, you had Busta and Eve doing their hit records, and then every other record or something like that, they saved space for Black Thought to come out and spit. And he even did that with Usher towards the end. I thought that was really smart and a really fly way of incorporating Black Thought into the performances, because really the records that Black Thought is on and has, and even the Roots have, a lot of people probably don't know. They're not the same level of commercial hits. So if they did a Roots set, we probably wouldn't know all of the songs, me included. So I thought that was a really smart way of doing it, but the crowd did not want to hear Black Thought on Busta, Eve, and Usher records.
That was really odd to me.
They didn't enjoy it.
I also, since we mentioned state property, I also want to point out that Beanie Sigel was trying to get people to sing Phil Collins, and people were not. People sang it for like one time, and then they were like, all right.
Yeah, Feel It in the Air over Phil Collins in the Air Tonight. It's cool, but he just allowed it to go on too long. Like, it's like a 5-minute record. We can't be singing Phil Collins for 5 minutes at a state property reunion.
At Roots Picnic.
I
think if this was a state property
show
specifically, then maybe you'd get more of this audience participation thing that he was trying to do.
No.
I just don't think, I think it went on too long, and I like Beans. We all love Phil Collins, and we love Beanie Sigel, and that's fine. Like, I didn't have a problem with him trying to get the audience participation. It just went on too long. He's like, come on, sing this shit. And it was like, no. Oh my gosh, you know what I just remembered? I don't remember who said it. One of them niggas got up there and said, ladies, is your pussy clean?
Oh, it was Young Guns.
Why? It is the year of our Lord 2023.
Yeah. When they said that, the person I was with looked at me and said, can they say that today? I was like, well, they said it. Shrug.
Niggas is all I took away from that. Because I was just like, but, like, y'all grown. If y'all don't know that wasn't okay. And I mean, I feel like the reaction wasn't crazy.
No,
right?
people cheered.
People kind of
It was a call and response.
It was a call and response. People kind of just, And
then they dropped that shit afterwards.
Right. But it was like,
because that was their way of saying we about to do our biggest girl record.
Right, but like.
And everybody was singing that shit.
But who said it?
Young Guns. I don't know which one of them said it, but Young Guns. Because then they did Need Your Love. Or Better Love.
Are y'all dicks clean?
So, yeah. Another weird call and response moment.
You're just going.
I'm not going to answer. I mean, I can't answer for Young Guns or the audience. But anyway. Another weird
No,
call.
them specifically. I don't care about the audience. Them specifically. If you're going to ask that question, is your dick clean? We can move on.
Sponsors, your ad could go right here. I stole that move from Joe Budden. Joe Budden does that when they wild out on the podcast. He'd be like, sponsors. He gets mad close to the mic, but like it gets super distorted. He's like, sponsors, your ad could go right here in between this conversation. Yeah, I stole that from him. Anyway,
okay.
Another weird call and response moment that we can move on is Ari Lennox. As great as her performance was, she tried to have the crowd sing some super long note. And I was like, when the crowd can't sing like you, baby. The crowd can't sing like you, Ari. You can't have niggas up here holding notes for 12 minutes. Like, no, you got to do some quick shit. When I say hip, you say hop. Hip, hop, hip, hop. You know? She was up there like, yeah, okay, everybody, ooh, no. Because the crowd sounded just as bad as I did right now.
Right.
And they was trying to do it, and I was like, no. It's not giving.
No, it wasn't giving.
It was not.
The call and response. Well, forget about the call and response. Just the audience participation frustrated me.
Usher
during Usher. I love Usher. I want to hear Usher sing. First of all, there was a mic problem.
Right. Yes.
Throughout the festival, there was a mic problem
on the main stage anyway. I didn't see any issues with it when I was on the smaller stage. The smaller stages seemed to be fine, but the main stage,
that main stage was, the mics were all low. A lot of acts came out and said, "Can you turn my mic up?" Usher was the only person who did not ask them to turn his mic up. He did a little intermission, and then when he came back out, it seemed like they turned it up a little bit, but not enough. Yeah, because Usher's mic needed to be louder just off the strength of people singing along to his songs.
Every fucking word.
It was
whether they could hit the notes or not.
It was driving me insane because I'm like, I'm here to see Usher. And Usher is great because Usher will perform
his ass off.
Yes. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm at this little festival in Philly. I'm gonna give y'all this half-ass performance." Usher was into it. Usher brought out Jasmine Sullivan.
Oh man, that
Eve
was so
came
good.
out. Black Thought came
couldn't
out.
Hear them.
Could not hear. It was like they didn't even turn on Jasmine Sullivan's mic,
which was sad.
I love the footage. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know how close you were, but the footage of them up close, like. Great. I just wish that you could have heard her, and I wish that Jasmine would have stayed, for a couple songs.
Yo, I was excited when
bless us with something.
When he said "make some noise for the immaculate Jasmine Sullivan," the person I was with didn't even react. They just looked at me because they knew how hype I was. Mm-hmm. I was hype as shit. I like, yo, we about to get a Jasmine Sullivan mini set. We getting 3 songs. What we gonna get? We gonna get Bust the Windows Out Your Car?
I thought the same thing.
What we getting?
I thought.
And then they used her as an Erykah Badu replacement for the very popular Roots song.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even think that was super fly.
Yeah.
And brought Eve back out, but we couldn't hear him.
Yeah, that was my issue with Usher. It's like, okay, yeah, that wet my palate a little bit, but I'm going to need to go to Vegas or Paris to see Usher.
Oh, Paris.
Well, because he's doing a residency in Paris right now also.
Yo, Usher is the man.
So
he's in his I'm performing every day era.
Yeah. Oh, listen. I'm sure when he heard that Diddy was not going to be at Roots Picnic anymore, I'm sure Usher was the one who was like, can I come?
Right.
Because I'm free.
Right.
I'm free on, you said Sunday?
Right. Even though he was there Saturday. For the elephant in the room we have yet to bring up.
Oh, we haven't talked about that. Lauryn Hill. He was there. I actually have video of him hanging in the background with JD and some white man.
Not this JD.
Who I don't know. No. Jermaine Dupri. Excuse me. This is JD. That is Jermaine Dupri.
Jermaine.
Yeah, I have video of him just chilling behind the crowd waiting for Lauryn Hill to come out. So Lauryn Hill performed.
And she didn't make us wait 5 hours.
No.
She didn't even make us wait 1 hour.
She was only about 30 to 40 minutes late.
I think it was about 40 minutes.
People were saying she was on time. I think that's what people consider on time for Lauryn Hill. And, I'll accept it. I'll allow it.
I was just glad I didn't have to wait 5 hours because it was already 9 o'clock.
I agree.
10 o'clock? I don't know, something like that.
And then she brought out Praz and Wyclef. And they did like a little mini Fugees reunion. Which was cool.
And which the internet has not stopped talking about.
Oh, and the internet keeps saying that this was their last performance because, Praz has his issues. We don't need to get into that, but we don't really know what the fate of the group is at this point. Their reunion tour got canceled, so no one really got to see that.
Right.
So I was happy to be there to see it.
I mean, it was history.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Seeing Lauryn Hill is like...
It's historical in its own right.
This is right. It's crazy to even be able to say that. And then when she was really getting into her shit, it's like, where my squad at?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. History.
Yeah, no, it was great. But can we talk about Lauren by herself for a second? Because I noticed that a lot of people started leaving.
But then Usher too, though.
Usher too.
I think more people left when Usher was performing than when Lauryn Hill performed.
Yeah, there was like a changeover that Usher did where his band seemed to be getting more involved, and like the songs were arranged a lot differently from what you were used to. I think people get frustrated with that. I thought it was funny that, just to harken back a little bit, that Busta made that his flex. He was like, still sounding like the studio track.
He did. And
which
he
he
did
does.
Yeah, he did.
He does.
Identical.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was interesting. But I think, yeah, some of the music was arranged a little weird. I think with Lauryn Hill, it's hard to reconcile that because we don't get music from her.
Yes.
She hasn't created any new music in years.
Right.
So we are not, like, we're going off of this album that we were blasting 25 years ago, and we want to hear the album we've been playing for the last 25 years.
Yeah, she did different. It was very different sonically. It was very different when it came to the arrangements. Mm-hmm. She was killing shit. She was singing her ass off. She was very into all the rap parts, especially when the Fugees came out.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if you go to our Instagram or our TikTok, I posted a part where they're just kind of vibing on the stage, and yeah, she was really hyped, really excited. So
yeah, but yeah, it was weird hearing the music sound very different. Mm-hmm. I think the only song she did identically in her solo set was Zion,
and sort of, because it was, it was tweaked a little bit.
Right. I don't know, but listen, it was great. I'm glad she showed up. She was on time, more or less, and she bodied shit. And listen, I'm always happy to be a part of history.
I agree.
You know.
But yeah,
including when Ron Isley admits he missed his own lyric.
Oh my gosh, yes, he sure did. He laughed. It was funny because he laughed to himself, and it was like he knew. I looked at him and I said, he must have forgot his lines. And then sure enough, he goes, well, shit, I forgot my own lines. I thought that was so funny. I was like, it's okay, old man.
And it was a very human moment.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
All right. I understand that.
But he looked great, sounded great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His brother was killing it on the guitar.
Rudolph wasn't there. Rudolph's still waiting to get his check. Rudolph probably sent a note like, am I getting a check for Ruth's picnic? If you don't know what we're talking about, please go back to the episode where we talk about the Isley brothers. And we talk about the fact that Rudolph is trying to get his checks from his brother.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, but it was nice. It was nice to see. It was nice to see Ron. Now that I'm not afraid of him, it was nice to see him.
Why were you afraid of him?
I told that story about how I'm afraid of Ron Isley. And I was not that I am afraid of Ron Isley. I was afraid of the download video.
Ah, yes. Yeah,
so it's nice to not be afraid anymore and like really be able to enjoy his music.
And I appreciated the length of the sets. Mm-hmm. No one was up there for 10 minutes.
Right.
You got real performances for all those people that we're mentioning. State Property, mm-hmm. Isley Brothers, Ari, Lauren, Usher. I'm missing somebody. Mm-hmm. Everybody got, like, you got a show.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. I know a lot of times at festivals it's shorter sets. You might do 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah. These were 40-minute sets, hour-long sets. Usher did a little more than an hour. It didn't look like Usher or Lauryn Hill wanted to leave.
Yeah, but Usher did leave a little early.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I felt cheated
Usher came out right on time, though. He wasn't playing.
He came out 15 minutes late, but I felt cheated of 10 minutes because he left for 5 minutes.
Right.
And they played his songs. The DJ played his songs, played about 3 or 4 of his songs, but I wanted Usher to sing those songs. That's actually how I was surprised. They played Hey Daddy, he didn't perform it, and we know that he loves to, for whatever reason.
He did perform Hey Daddy.
No, he didn't.
No?
No.
Oh.
He didn't. It was a part of the DJ set in the middle. In fact, he even reposted, or not reposted, he even posted on social media, he posted the set list. But yeah, and then there was 5 minutes that was shaved off of the end.
Got it.
And I know this because I love Usher, and I wanted every single minute of
Clearly.
Usher. But yeah, because he was supposed to perform for a total of an hour and 15 minutes. Now, I just want to point out that the episode where we talk about the Isley brothers is episode 27. Why can't I talk today? It's episode 27, Between the Sheets. Just wanted to point that out just in case everybody's looking for that.
Good job. And it's also on our YouTube as its own segment. If you just want to know about the Isley brother beef, you can go on our YouTube channel and you'll find just that segment video because we want to make it easy for y'all.
Exactly. So yeah, I had a pleasant time. I had a pleasant weekend. I had a great experience with Ruth's Picnic. I would go back. You know, it was good. It was great.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Yeah. Oh, and like I just wanted to call out a couple new artists that I saw. Simba is a rapper. I don't know. I can't decide how I feel about Simba, but I figured I should talk about him anyway because I happen to
see him perform.
So I mean, you know, if you're looking for new music or a newer artist, I don't know how long he's been around, to be honest. Simba is one of them. And then Sid, I don't think Sid is new, but Sid sounded great. Sid is a singer, and I didn't know about Sid, but she was up there killing it, and people were very excited about Sid. So please, if anybody knows more information, feel free to put it in the comments. But I didn't know about Sid, so I just wanted to call those
I don't even know who that is.
Those two artists out, because
so she sings like R&B.
Yes.
Oh, then I gotta check her out immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of checking things out immediately, next pod we'll come up here and talk about Janelle Monáe's new album. Yep. It came out today, but we have not listened to it yet. Shame on us. Mm-hmm. But we will come up here and discuss it next pod.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's out and I can't wait to fucking hear it.
Yeah, I do want to listen to it too. But I think that's it. The one thing that I guess we didn't talk about that we talked about in the first episode we recorded was Lil Wayne and how Lil Wayne didn't how Lil Wayne stopped the show. He stopped the show, and what made me think of Lil Wayne too was that Beanie Siegel performance where people just weren't into it, and I was just thinking to myself, what if Beans right now just goes, you know what, fuck this. Just gets off the stage and be like, the rest of y'all coming too. State property is done for the night. But yeah, Lil Wayne was at a show. I think you know this story better than I do, but Lil Wayne was at a show. He brought out some of his artists that are not as well known as...
They're new artists.
Okay, they're new artists. It was an intermission of his show.
Correct.
The new artists came out and were performing, and people were not pleased. He felt that people were being disrespectful, and so he came out and he was like, you know what, shut it all down. I'm not gonna finish the show. And you know, people pay money to see Lil Wayne and not his new artists, so it's a little problematic.
It's a lot problematic. And now allow me to reintroduce myself. So here's the problem. There's nothing wrong with having opening acts, and the idea of opening acts is that you're giving someone with a smaller audience the opportunity and the access to a bigger crowd. Lots of people learn about artists when they go to somebody's show and they're an opening act, myself included. Tons of times, especially when you go to smaller venues, those more intimate shows, they come up, their homie is the opening act. And so that's how you see someone who might be a star today, but you never heard of a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, I've gone to countless shows and opening acts and I'm like, who the fuck is this? I never heard of this person. Then I'm like, wait, what was their name? I gotta write this shit down because they are killing shit. And you're excited and you become a fan. Cool. But that person is still paying their dues. That person is still on the come up, on the rise, whatever. That's fine. That's expected when you go to a hip hop show.
Right.
Even other shows, I've gone to R&B shows, they have opening acts that you might have never heard of, whether it's a rapper, a singer, a band, whatever. Cool, no problem.
Yeah.
Now, an intermission is not expected at a hip hop show. Period. When you go to see Jay-Z, you don't expect an intermission in the middle of Jay-Z's set. When you go to see Lil Wayne, you don't expect an intermission in the middle of Lil Wayne's set. Now, you curate your show however the fuck you want. Lil Wayne is a megastar and a great businessman, and he is someone who, although I'm not the biggest fan of his music, I highly respect everything he has done in the industry. No doubt about that. But this is why I can't fuck with you. Because you're going to come and say, hey, I decided to have an intermission. I got no beef with that. You decided, hey, I'm signing new acts. I'm going to bring them out and let them rock during my intermission. I also have no problem with that. But here's what I do have a problem with. The audacity and the privilege you think you have where you expect that your audience is going to show them love like it's you, Nick. I can't even talk. I'm so passionate. Like it's you, Drake, and Nicki on stage.
Right.
It's not. It's people they don't know. It's people they haven't heard of. It's people they're not familiar with. It wasn't that they booed them off stage. Lil Wayne just felt they weren't getting the reception they deserved. They deserve what? We don't know them. And I wasn't at the show, to be clear. I will probably never be at a Lil Wayne show. And here are more reasons why. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Oh, y'all not showing my niggas love, so the show is over. Since y'all not grateful. No, nigga, you are not grateful. How about that? You are not grateful. I wish the JD cam was here today, because I would go right in that motherfucker. But Lil Wayne, how dare you? Yeah. That is some nasty, gross, disgusting shit. To come out and say, hey, fuck everybody in this arena who paid hard-earned money to come see my rich ass perform on stage. Nah, I'm revoking your privileges now. Because they didn't clap for who? And don't get me wrong, I'm nobody. If I was on that stage during your intermission, I'd be so excited to just have the opportunity.
I was thinking that. I was like, I'm sure they were grateful to be there and be able to perform for whoever did pay attention to them.
And that's a great...
more people than they currently have, right?
But now you fucked it up. Because now the memory they walked away with is, hey, yo, that guy JD who was on stage, his shit wasn't even all that. And because of him, Lil Wayne ended the show. Fuck him and Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
I can see people walking away with that perspective.
Totally see people with that, like, and not going to look for the music or anything like that.
Yeah, because it's overshadowed by your dumbass move of shutting down the concert.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to do.
It's fucking dumb. And honestly, I would never pay for a ticket again if I was in that show.
Yeah,
and this is why I don't pay for a ticket.
I understand, and I think you're absolutely right. I don't have any.
It's a shame that someone who is a legend and an icon, because that's what he is, regardless of how you feel about him or his music,
regardless
or his
of how you feel. I'm joking.
Yes, listen. I think he's great at what he does, and he's a legend. I give him all the props, even though I'm not the biggest fan of his music. Same thing with Drake, who's one of the people we are blessed to have because of Lil Wayne. I'm not the biggest Drake fan, but you got to give people props where it's due. And we also have to call out the ugly shit they do as well. This was foul.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely.
You can't do that to people who they worked hard to be here. And concert tickets are not $5. No. So I paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars to come be at your show, and you cut it short for that?
Right, yeah.
Nah, fuck out of here.
That's ridiculous. I totally agree. I don't have any disputes there. On that note,
we out of here, baby. See y'all real soon.
In 2 weeks.
It probably won't be 2 weeks now.
No, next week.
Right. See y'all real soon. Bye.